going to recording now. Okay, so this is the third meeting of the Deal Syndicate AAP meeting. And so we have quite a few people on tonight,
Yeah,
which
which
is
is great.
nice. Yeah.
real good.
So
Yeah.
the eve before Christmas Eve. All right. So how's everybody been
Yeah.
doing this week? Anybody make any progress? Anything to share? Wow, you guys are quiet.
Quiet.
Well, I'll start it off.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, I got approached by a lady probably a week and a half ago, last Friday. And she has a house in Queens, New York, and she wants to sell it badly. She wants to go somewhere warm. She wants a smaller place. So there's motivation there. And she has a neighbor who inherited the house. The owners died, and it's been empty for 2 years, but it's pretty much the same as her house, not quite as pretty. And so they were telling me they wanted to sell both houses, and of course, both of them would have to be dealt with individually, but it sounded like a really good deal. The problem is I found out, well, I'll get into that, but she looked at Redfin, and Redfin said her house was worth $919,000. And she said, I know I have to start high, but I'm flexible. So I'd like $850 for it. And, so I went on, I looked at Redfin, I looked at REI, Zillow, and then I started doing comps. And it was strange because some comps were just over $1 million, and some comps, a lot of them were down in the mid sixes. So it's very difficult. So I'm trying to get hold of Sean. Actually, I did hear back from Sean, and he gave me his idea of what the comps were. But basically, I went back to her and I said, it looks like your house is worth somewhere in the mid sixes, and it does need a little bit of work. And we talked about it. And I offered her actually 517, but she heard 550, and she said 550 is way too low. Can't do anything there. So we talked a little more. Very nice lady to talk to, and talked some more. And I said, well, I'll go and see what underwriting says. I don't know how much room we have. And of course, I went away and I looked again for comps. I was trying to speak to other people to look for comps, and everything seemed to be coming back about 670, 680.
Yeah.
So I just called her back and I said, I really like your house and I really want to buy it, but we can't do much more than 550. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Another bonus was going to be that she wants to move to Scottsdale, and Scottsdale is right where I live. And she was saying, well, maybe you could find a house for me there when I moved.
Yeah.
So it was almost 3 houses for one.
Yeah.
So right now, she thinks it's worth a lot more. So I'll call her back in 2 or 3 weeks and just see if she's changed her mind.
Yeah. Hopefully she's on the reality.
After the holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shane was helping me a lot with that, and he had somebody looking for comps, and he had a real estate agent lined up, and we were pretty much ready for her. I even had all the contract written out, ready to just send off to her. I wanted, as soon as she agreed on a price, I wanted to just put that price in the contract and have it with her in 10 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, try and get hold of her. And if we came to an agreement for her house, then she was going to tell her neighbor that they have to sell to me as well. So it would have been a good deal, but unfortunately, they have it in their head that it's worth about $850. So at the moment, it's a deal I have to walk away from, which is a pity because I think potentially it is worth that much, but haven't found any great comps to back that up.
Yeah.
Maybe Shane can say a little bit more about what he saw.
You know what? What you said is true, and we looked ourselves. We spent a lot of time, you and I, this week, looking at comps on Redfin and Zillow, or mostly Redfin, and we didn't see anything that justified higher than like 650, maybe a little bit more than that between the two houses. And then the only question was what to offer. But the bottom line is comping really is a bigger linchpin than we all thought it was. Not all thought it was. We know it is, but sometimes it's more than we think, because we see such a spread sometimes between REI Automator and Redfin or Zillow, whatever, and we're like, what?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I think, from what I've been noticing myself from the things that I've been comping out, every property is individual, and it all depends a lot on the areas where they're at.
Right.
From what I'm finding out and figuring out myself. And, you get so many different variations from Redfin to Zillow to
Right.
Realtor to REI. And that's why you just really have to find the closest comps and, try and just comp.
It's really tough. And that's why we have to put more of an emphasis when we have that first phone call
Yeah.
on really qualifying and really trying to find where their motivation is. And we were both encouraged, and we still are to a certain degree, Stefan and I,
Yeah.
that
We had just put a house
Can,
on
can I add?
contract. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris. So the lady saw that her house was worth $919 on Redfin, and I kind of ran into the same thing with a house in Georgia, and you can't find comps to back that up.
Mhm.
But what had happened is that this lady and somebody else had both put their houses on the market a month ago, maybe a little bit more, 2 months ago, for 1.1 and 1.2 million. And it seems like the software with Zillow and with Redfin
Yep.
will see something like that,
I was
and
telling
then
you.
they'll say the market value, yes.
Yeah, remember I was we were talking about
But
that?
that's not realistic,
Yeah.
because when you go and you search the comps for a house that actually sold at that, you can't find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see some for 670, 680 is one, but that was the highest. But you get misled by Zillow and Redfin and even REI. They're showing a much higher value because of somebody actually just putting it on the market, but it was too much and it didn't sell and it was taken off the market.
Yeah.
So, it really boils down to, you have to find hard houses that sold and see what they sold for. And that's reality.
I definitely agree with you with that. We, like I said, we just put a house under contract, which the one we were talking about, I think we were talking to you about
Right.
it. And we put that under contract in Rhode Island. And that was another one that was very difficult because the houses were all over the place. Rhode Island's a hot area. In Newport, it's right in a, resort town. So it just so happened, I was able to comp through REI and Zillow, and, there was 3 houses that were comparable that sold in the past 4 months. So it kind of made it a little easy, but they were anywhere from 700 to 1.1 million, so where, it's like, where do you go with that? Some of this house
Right.
renovated and worked. The ones that are 1.1, 1.2, they have renovated already. But I did find 2 houses that went for 775. One was 755, one was 775 within the past couple months, within sort of that same condition. So that gave me a good basis.
The danger is that everybody who wants to sell their house knows about Zillow or Redfin, and they'll go on there and they see 919,000. So they have it in their head. That's what their house is worth.
They do.
And when you start to talk about them, you can explain about comps and you can try and tell them what's reality, but they see right there, it says 919.
A good case in point is my mom's house. Because I said to Chris, I said, let's just look at my mom's house. And we know that the neighborhood and what her neighbors are getting for their homes are in the 300s. And on, I think one of the Zillow or something had
That
it
was
at like,
REI.
or one of them had it at 435. And I don't think that,
Right.
it's not that big of a difference, but it's enough of a difference that to me, it just didn't.
They said that was a sold property for 425?
No, they said that that's what her house was worth. So if my mom's looking at that,
Right.
Okay.
They don't know enough. They don't know the difference.
They don't.
right.
They don't.
So she
So
said
the
that's
truth
what I
is, sorry to talk over you, but so
Uh-huh.
January 13th, G is going to be
Here.
speaking on this, right?
Yes.
So I think if we can try to,
Well, Rick had a really good idea. I'm sorry, Shannon, I didn't want to talk over you.
No, Rick, tell
But Rick, why don't you tell your idea? Because I did tell it to Lisa and she thought it was a great idea.
It was a real good idea.
for me, it would be more helpful if it was more of an exercise. So rather than just her presenting on a couple of deals, if she sent a deal out to everybody, the same property, we all go away and we comp it on our own. Then we come back, because then that way we get to experience the challenges. If she just spits out, here's what I would do, I didn't really see all the thoughts in her mind and
Right.
challenges that all happened in between.
Yeah.
So to me, all of these things would be far better if they were exercises. We did them, we come back together, we all present, you know, everybody presents on how they came up with their total and what their challenges were.
Yeah.
I think there'd be a lot more to get out of that type of scenario.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah,
it's a
I
real
thought
good
it was a
idea.
real good idea. And
Yeah.
Lisa said that.
And
well.
maybe if we could do that, if we know that Gia is going to be with us on the 13th, we could do that ahead of time so everybody has their answers.
Yes.
We can present the answers and then she can see what she thinks is
Yeah.
reality.
Yes, I think
That
that's
would be
what I
good.
told
That'd be
Lisa.
very good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what I told her, that if we could do that the week before, and this way we would have a few days to kind of get our numbers together. And then, like, Rick
Mhm.
said, have Gia tell us what she did and how she got there, and then we can all discuss how we got where we did. Makes sense.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think. it's a good idea.
Stefan,
Really good
I
idea.
wanted to ask you, so in that situation that you're having right now, would it be a good idea to do that flex option, I think that Sean talks about, where you kind of still get it under contract and then you put it out to some realtors and also to some cash buyers, see if anybody bites. So at least that, in the meantime, in those months that you're waiting for her to come to reality, maybe something will happen. I'm not sure, but I was just thinking that might be the next step.
Well, there was, right. There were two houses. There was her house, which is 26, and the neighbor, which is 24. 26 was a really nice house. They had a lot of nice wood floors, a lot of wood cabinets. It was really nicely appointed, looked like it'd been well taken care of. It had a new roof, it had a new heating system. So I was straight away thinking that would be a candidate for the retail buyer program. And the way that works is that you still try and buy the house at a wholesale price, but now you can go to an agent, a real estate agent, and pretty much hand them the whole deal. They put it on the MLS, they advertise it, and they sell it for full retail. But because of that notice of interest form that I file, it ensures that I get my commission out of the middle. So you're pretty much, you're buying it wholesale, turning it over, selling it for retail. And that was exactly my plan for that. Now, the other house, the husband had died, and a year later, the wife went into a home and then she died, and the caretaker inherited the house. It's basically been empty for 2 years, and that they were built in 1915 and probably updated in the mid 60s, and it looked like it. So it was nice and clean, but it was all very old. So that one would be a good candidate for a wholesale deal, and have somebody buy it to fix it up and modernize it. So yes, that was my intent. But she wanted 775,000, and to buy it at that price, hoping that somebody might pay 800 or 850, that's a big gamble. And we do have an option in our contract that if we don't agree with the price, or for whatever reason, we can walk away from it. But I've had to do that once already, and it left such a hole in my stomach treating somebody like that. I don't want to do that again. So,
Yeah, I don't
not intentionally. So yes, what you propose is good, but it has to be bought at the wholesale price. And that was the stumbling block.
Yeah.
Yes, my thinking for that is not to lead her on, but to tell her, look, I don't think we can get the deal done at that price, but I'm willing to try. If we could, do this flex option, that way you can still market it if you want on your own. I'll reach out to my buyers and I'll do my best to get you that price, with the understanding that I doubt that I can do it, but I'm going to try. At least in that time, like you said, you're going to wait 2 months, 3 months for her to come to reality. She knows that now you're working on it as well. She's struggling to get that price. Then when you come back and say, I really tried hard, I could not get it. Now maybe she's more amenable to dropping her.
Yeah, that's a good
price.
thought.
Yeah.
Good thought.
No, you haven't
It
lost
would
anything by trying
entail-
that.
Right.
Sorry, Shane?
I'm saying you haven't lost anything by trying it. The only thing in this case, Rick, there's such a disparity between what she wants. She's put her bottom line at 775, and we're offering 515. So there's just such a gap
Yeah.
there that, I mean, maybe it's possible, but I mean, it's unrealistic. But it's a good at least psychology, and that's really what realtors do. Is they'll take a listing for something that's not a realistic price just to get the buyer to be able to say, well, you know what? No one's biting on it. So let's go down 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's,
No one's biting on it now. Let's go down another 10%.
yeah, but you know, that's bad business from a realtor to do that. in
Right,
my-
of course, but that's what they do.
You know.
Yeah.
If she is so far out of whack and there's no chance of her selling at that, well, then I probably wouldn't waste my time with what I was just suggesting. But
Right.
if she's stuck on that 850 or 775, because she truly believes, and maybe someone else has shown her comps to get her there, and you were afraid of maybe losing the deal, well, then that's why I would try what I was suggesting with the flex option, just in case you're off with your, because you said there were no real good comps. Well, then maybe somebody would pay that 850 if she's so.
She was kind of basing the 850. She said that there was a house that sold not too far away for 849. And I looked and there were houses that sold for 849, but they were nowhere near. I mean, they were 3/4 of a mile or 1 mile away in Queens across the other side of a freeway. So that might as well be in a whole different area, different town. But as you were talking, I was thinking that might not be a bad strategy if I go back to her. And because one of the things that attracted her when she looked on my website was that she saw no fees, no commissions, and she really liked that. So we could have some kind of agreement that I will try and market it. And if we get a certain amount, then we can maybe pay her 775. But that would probably mean us getting, 850 or 900 for it.
Yeah.
But maybe something could be structured like that.
Yeah, that's not a bad, it really is not a bad idea. I talked
You
to
know?
a guy who had just called randomly, and, I just was talking to him, he really had no interest in selling. But he was talking, and the more he was talking to me, the more he was saying, that he had a rental property. And I said, well, if you ever want to sell, give me a call back. And he was like, well, I would probably list it with this realtor that I'm using. And I said, yeah, and then you're going to pay him 6%. And that could be money in your pocket. And so, we
Mhm.
talked for a while, and I kept reiterating that we don't charge you that, no fees, no commissions, no closing costs. And
I think when it comes to that, I think you just have to get, like, the right person has to understand what it is that you're doing. And for the couple, from the experiences that we have had thus far, even this last one, they know, like, they understand what we're doing, and they don't want to put the 75,000 out to fix it. They don't want to have to wait the 6 or 8 months to get that done, go through the aggravation, the sales commission. They don't want to have to do it. So in their mind, even
Right.
dropping them another, more money, another 25,000. In their mind, to them, it's worth it because it's not worth their aggravation. And that's sometimes what you have to get across to
Exactly.
people. That by the time you have to put the money out to fix it, it's more time. You're going to get aggravated with the contractors. Then you're going to have, of course, your realtor fees, and then you're going to have some of your closing costs. And it all depends on the price of the house. So for the extra, for some people, I'm not saying it works for everybody, but for some people, that $25,000, that you're chopping them from all that, and then you're taking another 20, 25 grand off from yourself. It's like, they're like, you know what? You're right. And I don't want to deal with it. So just come take it. That's
Yeah.
the angle we play off of anyway. That's what I've found to work for us thus far. And it's not with everybody. There are people, like you said, they want what they want, and that's it. We're still working a guy in Florida. He still wants his number, even though he's had 2 other offers that came in where ours were. And he's still, we're talking to him again. He's like, nope, I want my number, because that's what I feel it's worth. And he's undervalued, and he knows it because he knows the house needs work, but he is stuck on that number.
Yeah. So I've heard from a couple of different people that say we're problem solvers. Every situation we come into is a little bit different. And there was one lady that wanted to sell a house, and the more we talked to her, the more we found out that all she wanted to do was be able to go and move down to Florida and live. And how much do you need to live? Well, I need about 6,000 a month. And we came up with a plan where we could give her this much money now, and it would let her move to Florida,
Yeah.
and she'd have her 6,000 a month. And she was really happy with that deal.
Yeah. that's
So,
great. Yeah.
you know, it comes down to the getting to know them and see what their situation is.
Yes, it does. Yes,
True.
it does. Yes, it
True.
does. Yes, it does.
Okay.
How's anybody doing any marketing this week? And if they have they had any luck with anything?
We're
Nah?
looking at doing some different things. I'm looking into a different CRM.
Okay.
RE Simply, I told you last week.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because Stefan, you'll like this. As I'm go to the website and I'm taking like a little demo and everything, and I'm looking at the testimonials. And who do I see on one of the testimonials? Is this guy Michael? I told you about, who helped us comp these properties in Queens because it's part of his market.
All right, great.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, he's a kind of a mentor of mine, so because it's kind of interesting.
Mhm.
But we had some good fortune this week that we had a loan fund today, which is good. So
Really?
yeah,
Congratulations.
it happens. Yeah,
Good, that's great.
so that's good. It's a good one. Long and
So that enables you have a buyer now that can go ahead and buy?
oh, it's gone. It's funded. It's done.
Wow.
We got the money wired into our account.
Great, good for you.
Great.
Woohoo.
Good job.
Good
Good
job.
Christmas.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little late Hanukkah for me, but yeah.
That's good. That's good. So you made some
Still good.
progress.
Still good.
So there's things
We'll
happening.
take it, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, good.
Onward. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I think what we learn from all these different things, you know, all these challenges, is that it's just back to the basics. We need to properly qualify. We need to build rapport, all the things that we hear, and have them trust us, just, you know, to a certain degree, and just say, you know, Mary, I wish I could get that. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I can try, like Rick was saying, I can try. I just don't see the market bearing that right now. And
Mhm.
you know, I see this, and this. If you want to take a look with me, we can look together on Redfin. These are the same size and this and that. I just don't see it, you know. So that's why, you know, and again, we pay cash, so we're not doing commissions, you know, we're not paying retail because we're doing a quick closing and there's a little bit of trade off for, you know, convenience and speed. But I think the proper qualification in the beginning, and it's not always easy to do, it's hard, you
Yeah, it
know,
is.
but as we do it, and we just have to market more and more and more. So one deal doesn't make that much of a difference. It doesn't, you know, ruffle our feathers, you know.
Right.
That's the whole thing of marketing, you know, and just getting the leads and then qualifying the leads.
Yeah. Cedric, you were going to do
And
some
it-
yellow letters. Were you able to?
Oh no, my grandmother actually had a graduation this week, so I had a lot of family over and
All
they
right.
were in my work area.
I can see a balloon in the background.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so we had to go to Beaumont for our graduation, so and then we're about to head out of town for Christmas.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm going.
No, you're gonna stay and work.
Yeah, that's what I feel like.
All right,
Good.
all right.
Yeah,
Get
I'm
ready
missing
for the
days. I
year.
think I'm just stay home.
Well, I have my yellow letters ready to go, but I haven't sent them out yet either. So I'm kind of
Are you going to after the holidays?
I was trying to get them out by like yesterday, but I got hung up on the phone number to put on the yellow letter because
Oh,
Charles had come on and said like not to use the 888 or 800 numbers.
right.
And he said to use a area code for the town or the state that you're sending it to. And I picked Delaware, but I don't have a Delaware number. So I was
Right.
curious as to, you know, if you were using
Yeah.
a number and, you know, that was in the state or what you were doing with it.
Oh well, we get our numbers from Freedom Logic. That's how we're getting our numbers. But sometimes we create the Google Voice number just for just to have a free number.
Yeah, a friend of mine was doing Google Voice. I was wondering.
Yeah, yeah. So but Google Voice is pretty decent. Like it's not bad. Like it's reliable.
Yeah. Interesting.
The
But I-
challenge though with Google Voice, if you know, you're having it coming to your cell phone, is if you want to add another line, let's say in a different area code, you're stuck with the first one. I don't know a way of doing it, and there may be, but I tried looking it up because I use Google Voice locally.
Yeah, that's what
I
I
don't
was
want
doing.
people knowing me for my bandit signs, which has the Google Voice number on it.
Are you still doing the bandit signs or no?
You know what? We've done 3 deals based on bandit signs.
Okay,
That's not bad.
that's good.
And we put a whole bunch up. Remember when I saw my daughter and her boyfriend and everything, we went out. I guess
Yeah.
that's now about a month ago. Haven't gotten any since then.
Okay,
But people see them, so it kind of marinates. They see it.
Yeah.
Oh, time to call. Okay, first of the year, I'm going to call. Whatever.
yeah, yeah.
But how's it going with PPC? I mean, is it dead this week?
Dead. PPC is.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone's busy, basting their turkey and all
We
that.
even went on, we started the Bing campaign too. And, so we're running, Bing and, we're running Bing and Google Ads and nothing.
Yeah, I don't understand. We're not getting any
Nothing.
conversions at all.
I think it's a combination, not that I know anything about this, but just listening to what they're saying, it's a combination of the holiday season
Yeah, it is. It
because
is.
and the fact that Google's still learning you.
Yeah,
And it takes time to learn you when no leads are coming in, even longer because they have nothing to base it on.
yeah,
Listen,
Right.
it's frustrating.
it is frustrating.
And it costs money.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
it does.
Yes, it does. I set up the Bing one and I was like, I said, oh, look, they already charged us like $50. It's been going for like 2 days. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, wait a minute, I didn't even get any leads out of
Yeah.
this. So it's kind of, it's making me a little salty, to
Oh,
be
you can't
honest.
be
Yeah.
salty.
Yeah.
Salty.
You know about the Italian one? Instead of Bing, it's Bada Bing.
Don't do that when I'm drinking. I'm gonna.
I got you.
Does anybody have any?
So we
Well,
Stuff?
Go ahead.
I was gonna chime in. I haven't said
Kyle.
Hey,
really anything.
Kyle.
I've just been listening. Hey, I'm good. I'm kind of concerned with PPC because I think that Google changed something in the parameters, and I think if you have a larger daily budget over that parameter, it hasn't been effective as much. But if you're under about $400 or so a day, I think it's affected what they're doing with it, because everyone I've spoken to that has a larger daily spend, they're still getting some stuff. It's slowed down, but they're still getting some stuff. Where everyone with a smaller daily spend, they're crickets. It's full on crickets. So
Yeah.
I sent a question in to the powers that be to see if somebody could look into it. Hopefully Sean just check it out and see. But from everyone I've asked, they have a lower than a certain amount spend, it's crickets, and up atop a certain spend, they're still getting some stuff. It's slower, but they're still getting stuff. So I have a concern that that's the problem. Now, I don't know why it would be the same with Bing, unless Bing basically tries to do what Google does, but
They did
that
make
was my
sense.
concern.
Yeah, Kyle, that's great. Some great insight, because last week, Matt, I don't know exactly who he is, but he was on a meeting and he does a pretty large budget. And he said that he was getting a lot of clicks. Like he was doing pretty good with it.
Yeah.
So, you could have a very valid point there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does a pretty big spend. So
Yeah.
And it's hard to
Yeah.
justify the big spend if you're not seeing clicks right now. It's like more
And
money.
you're starting
Yeah.
out.
Oh, what's going to
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
Yep. You want to go spend $5,000.
So, Missy had turned me on to a guy called Ethan, and he was helping just watch over my account and make sure everything was correct and ticking over. But I haven't had a lot of money to put into it. But he deals with that on a very large scale. I wonder. I'll ask him the question what he thinks. Is it seasonal? Is it something that Google has changed? Is it daily budget dependent?
I was just talking
Well,
to Ethan this week about that. Not about that, but about my thing. So, and he's for hire and he does a great job.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
think it
give
has
that
something to
again?
do with,
Catch that person.
Each
Who's
of
for
them.
hire?
I'll put it in the chat. I'll put
Thank
it-
you.
Go ahead,
Go
Kyle. What
ahead,
were you
Kyle. What
saying?
were you saying?
I was gonna say, I think it has to do with what, how you have the different things you can select that you want the campaign to do, get conversion, get clicks, get website, drive it to your web. I think it has to do with the conversion click, is what it is I think they changed the parameters on that is what I'm concerned about, based on what other people have said. And I just caught the tail end of it, but and I can't remember his name. What's his name? And his wife that lived down in Tucson. He was in the car business for a long time. He was having that same issue where he found out that there was something about the click for conversion stuff. And so he was going to look into it a little bit more too. So I think there's a few people looking for an answer, but that's my concern.
Well,
So,
we're definitely one of them because we, even on the Bing campaign, I think like yesterday, we had like 15 clicks, but absolutely no conversions,
No conversions.
which
at
is
all.
really odd. We're getting these clicks, but we're not getting any conversions.
I'm wondering
Yeah.
if it's the website. I'm not real crazy about the website.
I think the website, based on all the websites I've ever used and web forms and all the different companies that I've hired for my real estate team about, do this, do that, help us get more traffic here. They convert, the SEO on them is good. It's just, I don't know. I'm worried that it's something else. I mean, I do know that Sean has put a lot of money into the SEO and the conversion of those things. And they seem, from what I've seen and the tips and tricks that I know about it, which again, I'm not an expert, but they seem to be pretty solid because you want to have certain keywords in the website embedded in, and then, you label pictures a certain way and stuff like that. And it all seems to be right. So, I mean, you could try changing the background colors from a black to a blue, because that sometimes brings people in. And they said if you use, if you're running any Facebook ads, if you use the color orange, it's the color that pops most with the blue from Facebook. So ads with the color orange do better than, not, but obviously we're talking about PPC, not Facebook, but
That's good.
so
to
just
know.
little stuff like that. Yeah.
Does anybody use Facebook for marketing purposes?
I know a few people that do, but they have, again, very big spends. And I think it's the big spends, they get something, the little spends they don't. It's sort of like Zillow, for agents. If you spend, $500 a month, you're not going to get a thing. But if I know a few guys that spend 20 grand a month and they get enough deals to make it worthwhile, but it's all in the, so.
Hey, Kyle, let me ask you, I know you know a lot of people. Do you know
Yeah.
any kids running any TV commercials? Like just local in the local markets or no?
I do know a guy in Vegas that is, and they're doing really well on it. And a buddy of his that's also in Vegas is doing the same thing. And so they're sort of dueling commercials and they're doing just fine with both of them. But I know nothing about setting up commercials. I know they're doing them and I know they're having success with them, but it's costly. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
But they pull in and they run them
Are they running national or are they just running locally? Do you know?
they're just running them locally. And it's funny, they run them in the late night, early morning hours, and they run them after, during shows. I mean, I kid you not, during shows like Judge Judy and Jerry Springer reruns and stuff like that.
That's
when they run
they're
it.
the people you want to target. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
they're
They're having success.
Yeah, but it's God, I want to say the one guy was spending like 60 grand
Yeah.
running ads, and they're getting 5 or 6 deals a month out of it.
Okay.
So they're making, good money, but it's, return on, cash on cash return is probably, they're probably making 120 and spending 60. So they're doubling up their spend, but so.
Yeah, we're thinking about the first of the year, maybe trying that, because another business that I had, we did it and we did pretty well with it. So, I've been actually talking to my guy and we're thinking about trying to set something up for the first of the year, but I really haven't known anybody or talked to anybody that was actually successul with doing it. That's why.
So I've done
Oh.
commercials for my team here in Washington on Hulu,
Mm-hmm.
and Hulu's commercials are super inexpensive comparatively, and we get some quite a bit of calls off of them. So it's not going to be, you're not going to get everybody. You're only going to get
Yep.
Hulu subscribers, and only the people that get the lower level package, which is most of the people, because those ones still have ads. But Hulu ads are rather inexpensive for what it is, and we get some pretty good calls on it.
I didn't even
So,
know Hulu did that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah.
yeah. So
Never knew that. All right. Great insight. Good.
yeah.
When we were at the meeting, we were talking to Scott Roots about commercials because I think he actually does them. And he was talking about how they work.
Was
He only does them.
was
California.
Was he getting successful?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. He said he's doing pretty. He says one guy in California that's just beat him, but he said the dude spent a lot more than him. So,
Yeah.
but he said it does pretty well for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Sean was about to start doing some too, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had heard that. Yeah, I had heard that.
and then just
Think outside the box. a
Just
little.
one more question I had. Yeah.
You broke up, Kyle. We lost you.
You froze. You froze.
Heard you guys talking about.
We lost you, Kyle.
We lost you. You sound like a robot.
It's a tough area there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll come out. He'll come out.
Driving through.
Anybody else have any new marketing ideas to add?
Anything to
Anybody working on
add while we're
anything?
waiting for Kyle to come back.
No.
I don't have any marketing ideas, but I sent this question to Missy and I'm still struggling with it. And that is, we always tell sellers that we pay closing costs and fees and all that. But somehow that's coming out of the bottom line. So I don't know how to have that conversation with them, because if we're going to be honest up front and show them the numbers, which I keep hearing, just be honest, show them the numbers and you'll get deals. Well, how do I show them the numbers if I tell them that we're paying all the closing costs and fees? Because that's going to be deducted from the price that we offer them. So I struggle with trying to figure out how to do that.
Well, I think first of all, the buyer, the person buying it off of you, is the one that's paying the fees. So, that just needs to be negotiated, within your price. So when they're buying the house, and I'm just going to say, let's use a $200,000 property. For example, if you're buying that property for $100,000 and you're turning around and you're selling it for 130, and you're telling the buyer it's 130, you're paying all the fees. I don't really come off of the seller, the person you did. Like, I'm just going to give an example of this house we just put on a contract. We didn't even have that discussion about who's paying what. I mean, they know, we told them that we're paying all the fees, but
On the contract,
on
I
the
put that
contract,
the buyer will pay
we'll pay
the
the
closing
fees.
costs
Yeah,
and
it's just
settlement
exit off.
fees.
Buyer
And-
pays settlement fees.
And then
all
when you
closing
have a
costs.
buyer, it's understood, well, you explain it to them that they will be responsible for the settlement and the closing costs. And the two deals that we just did, they were fine
Yeah, they're
with
fine
that.
with it.
Yeah, maybe
So
some.
I think, Rick,
The seller does
when,
not- the seller does not get a copy of what you give to the buyer. It's my understanding that they don't. Anyway, I had to
No.
ask that question. So they don't. see-
if it's an assignment, if it's a
Right.
double closing, then they will.
Yeah, no.
Right.
But if it's
assignment,
assignment, the
right.
seller won't.
Right.
Yeah.
But also when you're dealing with the seller, they can go to a real estate agent, they can, that whole route, and they end up paying all of the fees and commissions and closing costs. If they're dealing with you, then one way you justify paying them less is you explain at the end of the day, you're going to end up with this much money in your pocket, whether you go to the realtor and then they take all of the commissions, or you deal with us and you don't pay any commissions, you still will end up about the same in the end of the day. So then it comes down to what are the other attractions for them to sell to you. And, so that's how I explain it to any of the sellers. If the question very rarely comes up.
Yeah, I mean,
But
their
when
bottom
it
dollar is
does-
the bottom dollar. If they want X amount and they're happy getting that X amount, they're not, I don't really think, we haven't had anybody question and say, okay, well, what about the seller? If they want 120,000 out of a house, I'm just saying that, and you're giving them their 120, they're happy. They're not, and there's no other fees. They're netting 120,000. That's what they care about. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
we haven't had anybody coming on us saying, what are the fees that are getting covered from what? So.
Yeah.
Nazareth, how you been,
And
buddy?
Hi, Nazar.
I'm sorry.
Hello, can you hear
How
me?
are you? Yeah. we
Hey,
got you.
good, good. Good seeing all of y'all.
Seeing you.
Good seeing
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Christmas.
Belated Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Staying there.
How's things going down there? What are you, Miami? Or
No, in Tampa. I'm in
Tampa? Okay.
Tampa, yeah. So Sean suggested doing that yellow letters.
Right.
Being
Yeah.
What's his name? I can't remember. So I didn't do 125. I did like 75 the first week, and
All
then
right, good.
75 the second week, and then this week I did 75.
Good. You getting any action from them?
I got 2 calls. I haven't followed up with them
All right.
Really?
because I keep thinking I need, my computer in front of me because, I want to do some research and, what the property and
Yeah.
who it was who called from the Excel sheet and all that. And, I was driving around, so I didn't want to call them while I'm on the cell phone, and just stumble around. So I need to follow up on those 2. But it's been, at first I was just writing it out, and then I started doing that printer thing on the yellow letters. It made it so much easier.
Yeah.
And I actually sent out a batch. I forgot to put phone number in there.
Oh,
It was kind of late when I was doing it. And the next day, it was like, oh man, I put a phone number in there.
Won't do that
But,
again.
yeah. So, and then I got another number locally. So the first couple batches, that was my cell phone number, and then now I've got something off Freedom Logic. So, I've been checking on there. I don't see anything replyable. Obviously, that one batch didn't have a number, but
That's
that's
good.
all I've been doing. Eventually,
that-
get the cold calling and the SMS in there.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to
Can I-
fumbling through the Freedom Logic because the whole flow thing, as far as follow up and stuff. So I'm trying to still get used to that. So I'm not really comfortable with that yet. That's
Okay.
about it.
Takes a while.
Yeah.
you were talking about the phone number that you got, and there's 2 ways of thinking about that. If you're doing a national website, then it's nice to see an 800 number. It's easy for anybody to call, and they recognize the site as a nationwide site. If you're sending out yellow letters or something that's very regional, it's nice to have a local phone number on there so that people think that they're dealing with somebody in their area. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So this was like a local, not Tampa, but it was Ocala was what I was doing. And so I just got an area code. I think it was 352 over there. So I just got that area code.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
And then when you said that you wanted to be set up in front of your computer, that's correct. But the first call is really just a fishing expedition. You're trying to get the address, the motivation, the condition, all of that. You don't want to talk about the price. Don't feel obligated to talk about the price at all on the first call. And then when you come back for the second call, then that's as though you've gone away, you've reviewed all the information, and you've come up with a fair offer rather than just dragging something off the top of your head when you're talking to them. And another advantage, if you try and talk to them about cost on the first call, it's all coming from you. You don't have the ability to say, well, underwriting didn't think it was worth that, because you're the person there talking to them now. So don't feel pressured to talk to them about the cost on the first call.
Okay,
And
that makes
that
sense.
makes it go a lot easier as well, more relaxed for you, because you don't have that pressure. All you're trying to do is get a lot of information.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, Stefan. So I could really take the call anywhere really and just kind of feel out the
Be
motivation. and then go
prepared
back.
with your seller sheet so that you can fill in all of the boxes on the seller sheet. And certainly you ask them what they would like to get. Maybe you ask them a second time as well to get that number, but don't feel obligated to give them what you will pay for it.
And always have your seller sheets with you, because we were in the car
Yeah, we got a
and,
call.
and I got a call from the guy, and it's the guy that we just got under contract, but I felt like an idiot because I didn't have my sell sheet, and Chris is sitting next to me giving me the side eye while I'm stumbling through my, oh my gosh.
I'm like, say
well,
this, say that. Say, just put them on speaker,
and-
you
and
know?
I'm like, it totally freaked me out. I need that sell sheet with me at all times and a pen. And then
Okay, that's a good idea. Maybe a
And
clipboard.
I definitely think as soon as somebody calls you, you want to try and answer that call because you don't want them going on to somebody else, you know? If
Yeah.
somebody's reaching out
Right.
to you,
That's true.
you want to be the first person to answer that phone, because if not, a lot of people will just hang up and go to somebody else, especially if they're looking online. I mean, if they got a yellow letter, that might be a different story.
Okay.
But, one of our biggest things is I'm like, answer the phone. It doesn't matter. Answer the
Yep,
phone
doesn't matter.
because
answer the phone.
they're going to end up going to somebody else if not.
Even, and I called the guy back and said, I am so sorry. I sounded like an idiot. I said, but I had my manager sitting next to me and I was extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think he
He
appreciated me
appreciated
calling
the
him
honesty.
back.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Chris is now my manager.
Yeah, yeah.
He was anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
She's the boss.
Always.
You're just the manager.
Yeah, exactly. You know how that works, Shane.
Oh, do. Oh, for sure.
So let's see, who else is on tonight? Janaldi, do you have anything to share?
Kyle's back
Oh,
on.
Kyle's back. Wait, hold on, Janaldi. Kyle, you had a question. What was it? Oh, we can't hear you. Wait.
You're muted,
You're
Kyle.
muted. Unmute
Oh,
yourself.
there we go. I'm sorry. I
There you
went
go.
back
That's
on
all right. We
mute.
lost you there. You were just asking a question. We lost you.
Yeah, no, I was driving through a bad area. I forgot to get a gift from a certain gift that we get my wife every year from the kids. And so I'm racing out at
Now you're out
late
the
at night
door.
to go do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Good.
So
Daddy.
I was just the start of the call. I missed some of it. It was in and out, but we were talking about the deal, and Shane helped to do comps, and they said that it was on the other side of a freeway some of the comps are in Queens, on the other side of the freeway. And then there was another deal we heard about, and you guys mentioned a seller that wanted, his number. And from everything that I did hear, and I didn't hear everything, I teach phone stuff in my brokerage. It's one of the things the owners have me do in the brokerage, and I didn't hear people really mention what was their motivation. And so I don't know, maybe I missed that, but I would say if you can't really say what somebody's motivation is, what their driving force is to get it sold and to get it sold fast, then they're not a motivated person, or you haven't asked the right questions. So it wasn't really a question. I was just giving some feedback that you got to really listen hard on calls, obviously, to find those little pain points that you can then start pushing your knuckle into. And again, maybe I missed it, but I wasn't really hearing a whole lot of, true motivation from any of these people. They want a certain amount, they'd be willing to sell for an amount, but they don't. And with those, you either have to move on, or you got to really listen harder to find something that's a pain point that you can press and push on. And sometimes people say little things, and when I train people or train agents on stuff, they're so quick to go on to the next question, to get them more information, to find something else out, that they miss the little things that somebody will say that, really starts, that's where you start that's the little piece that gave you their motivation, that you start digging into that. And all of a sudden that builds rapport, and it also gets you to a point where you can say why this is beneficial to them, and you can reiterate to them, their feelings about things to help get the deal. But that was just my 2 cents I wanted to put in. Again, if I missed something, I'm sorry. But yeah.
No, it's great. Thank you.
That's good. That's a good tip, because you do need to do that. That's how I got my first deal sold.
Yeah.
Is by listening to the lady and finding out that she was just tired of having to maintain the lawn at the property that she sold us. So, it was as simple as that. But once we got into that, then it just led into a whole other conversation. And before you knew it, we're like best friends almost.
Yeah.
So, you kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, it's amazing. A lot of people think if you push on the hard parts that people are going to back up, but if you push on their pain points, it builds the rapport. It actually does what, the reverse of what a lot of people think will happen. And yeah, again, I was just sort of listening and I was cutting in and out a little bit, but I just didn't hear anybody really mention what the motivation was. And if you don't have somebody with true motivation, then it's going to be, it's slamming your head against the wall the whole time. So
Kyle, let me ask, in your experience, have you found that there are some people that aren't telling you the truth of their motivation for selling, but they're motivated to sell?
well, I think everybody tries to keep something close to the chest, but I've rarely found people that have not said something, that have not put some kernel out there that's like, oh, there it is. And you can just start pressing it. But too often, when we're talking about seller pages and stuff like that, too often people are looking for to get enough information, and they want to stay on script, and they're thinking about what they need to do next, and they're listening, but they're not
hearing.
really picking up on what's saying. And that's why you should always reiterate repeat back to them what somebody said, and after someone stops talking, pause for a moment, then sort of repeat what they said, and so they really understand you're hearing them. And then it's just little things sometimes that like I was talking to a guy once and about selling a house, and he's like, oh yeah, we know it's worth this and blah blah blah. I was like, all right, well, and he's talking, he's like, well, yeah, and, my son passed away, and blah blah blah, and so my other son's been taking care of it. So I was like, oh, and then you start saying, well, I'm very sorry. You go back off of they're going some way, and you oh, I'm very sorry to hear about your son. Is it a long time coming? And you try to ask sort of questions that are not comfortable to ask, but it turns out that the son had actually died alone in the house, and there was, he had been there for a little while, so there was a major cleanup and reconstruction that had to happen, everything else. And you start getting in all those details, and then they start realizing that it's a burden, that it's heavy, that okay, this is why I'm calling somebody like this is why I wanted it gone, this is why. And you start being able to be more relatable to them and understand. And now he wasn't going to tell me any of that stuff, but it was so quick. It's like, oh, son passed away, and then this happened, so my other son's been taking care of it. And it was very quick, but it was one of those things where, like, you have to back them up. You have to hit on that little pain point. It seems almost cruel, but it's really what starts people conversing and what gets you to, some level of rapport with them where they open up. So I'd say don't be afraid to take the hard questions and just get people talking. So
Great tips. Thank you
Yeah,
so much
that's
for that,
excellent.
Kyle.
Thank you.
Very,
Yeah,
very good
thanks.
tips.
yeah.
Now, Rinaldi, you were going to go on next. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
Okay, so this week I did not really do much. Just was wrapping up a whole bunch of different things. Last week I was consistent and was sending out text messages. I got a lot of responses. Not all of them were nice.
Yeah. Well.
You're doing something
I
wrong.
mean, I was just like, well, thank God. I'm like, I decided like that would be the quickest way for me to A, get in contact with people, but B, do it while I'm at work. The worst case scenario is just like step away if somebody gives me good feedback.
Right.
So yeah, so luckily, like I said, I had feedback. A lot of it wasn't nice. And I have to re-scrub my list against the DNC as well as the litigators list, because I ended up having somebody tell me that they were on the DNC list, and I don't think Freedom Logic does it against the DNC. I spoke to Damius yesterday, and he indicated that for me to kind of essentially just re-scrub everything. Like what I've already scrubbed, I had to re-scrub it against the with, I think it's like batch skip tracing leads. I forgot what he gave me, but I wrote it down somewhere.
Right.
or actually rather typed it out somewhere. And what else? I ended up getting somebody else that gave me the person that I actually needs to talk to. So I had to follow up with them. And I was asking Damien, it's like, if this is kind of weird that I'm looking at these individuals that are definitely in foreclosure. Some of them actually even have been assigned to auction houses, and nobody's biting. So he said it like it might be like the holidays. Some people just don't want to deal with it right now, which kind of makes sense. And he's just like others probably are just like sticking their head in the sand. So I guess like right after Christmas should be, after like everybody's opening up their gifts, try to reach out again. So I'm planning on restarting on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then taking it from there, because I'm getting I think I forgot how much I sent out, but a vast majority of them responded back to me.
Yeah.
But but a good portion of that they gave like I said, they either told me to take them off the list, or that just
Yeah.
That nice stuff. Yeah, we get it.
so it's fine. Like at least I know they are getting it, but now I have to go, like I said, before I reach out to them again, I have to go re-scrub the list just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
So I'm not like under the radar of the litigators.
Yeah. Smart.
But other than that, I'm ready.
Yeah,
So,
well, you're doing a text and you're getting response,
Yeah,
which
you're
is
doing
good.
something. That's good. That's good.
yeah, so vast majority of them responded. So yeah, so I think for me it's working in that regard.
Good.
What's the list? Who are you targeting?
Pre-foreclosures in Florida. Boston is kind of difficult to do. I think I think Rick was there when we were in Arizona. Like Boston is difficult to do wholesaling. Like you have to do a double close.
Mhm.
And I think that you have to, the title has to season for, I think, 48 or 72 hours. So I have to come up with all the closing costs, and not a lot of what's that thing called? Lawyers. They are familiar with the process. So Sean Terry's team actually said they've only done one deal in Boston, and essentially never, like, won't say never, but pretty much close to never will deal with that again.
Yeah.
And it was like brutal. So that's what I got. So I just got out of Boston.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So how about well, it sounds like you're making progress, which is good.
Mhm.
Consistency. So kudos, because it's
Thank
tough
you.
to be consistent. So that's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. How about you,
Thank you.
Betty? You want to chime in?
Hi, this is my first time. I thought this was for an advanced course. I'm not advanced at all. I just started recently.
Well, it's actually an accelerated accountability program. So we're just here to kind of help each other along. You're new? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I'm kind of new. I think I'm with like Rick and Janali because I recognize their names.
All right.
But yeah, I started making some calls, and I pulled my list in Florida, and every single phone number was either disconnected or I couldn't complete the call. And so I guess I'm gonna have to send postcards or something. I haven't gotten that far, but yeah, so I'm gonna start calling on a different list either tomorrow or Monday
All right.
at a different town and say, but I mean, I don't know. Just like Janali, it's kind of tough right now.
Yeah, it is. I think it's just a little quiet for everybody right now. But
It's the holidays. I think
it'll
people
pop
don't
after
want to
the
be
first of the year.
bothered right now. So you know, I think we're gonna probably, like, I can't believe it's Christmas Eve already tomorrow, so we'll probably hold off until like the weekend. Maybe I can finally get my yellow letters in the envelopes and get them out for the beginning of the week. And maybe we'll
So-
have a little luck. then.
Damius was saying to do it the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
to start it the day after Christmas, because what's happening now is a lot of people are gonna have the same idea, which is start after the new year. Where, and as a result, so like, let's say people are targeting the same list and it's like 50 people getting, you know, calling that one person. Everybody's just like, oh, it's the holidays, let's not bother them. As a result, you'll probably, you know, it keeps it open for you because
Yeah.
nobody else is doing it because they want to have everybody
Yeah.
do the same thing. So
That's
Well, I don't know.
that's a great thought.
Charlie last week, he said he had a bunch of yellow letters ready to go out, but he was gonna drop one on 22nd in hopes that they got there like the day or two right after Christmas,
Yeah.
you know, which was smart.
is
So
smart.
I'm sure he dropped them. He's not on tonight, but I'm sure he dropped them.
What's a yellow letter? I'm sorry.
The yellow letters, you can see the template if you go to, like, if you Google yellow letters, you'll
Okay.
see a template come up. And
Is that
that,
like a postcard, direct mail kind of thing?
it's actually a yellow letter. I'll show you. I'll show.
Oh, okay. So that's what you suggest is to do direct mail or postcards or
Yeah, I mean, there's
emails
all
or,
different methods, but the direct mails and apparently yellow letters, we haven't done it yet, but she has a bunch there that she's getting ready to mail out.
okay.
So
That
it's-
apparently they get pretty good response. Charlie uses them and gets
It's
pretty good
basically
response.
just a yellow letter and you use red pen, and I just have a regular envelope, again with a red pen. And, you know, we have a PO box by where we live, so I put that as the return address. And it's just, you can get the copy for the yellow letter if you Google yellow letters. And I just
Okay.
kind of mimicked what they had. And I leave a space for their name up at the top here. And I leave a space here for the phone number that I didn't put in yet. And then I'll put the phone number again down here. So what I did was a template, and then I copied it onto the yellow paper.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't have to I just handwrite the names.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So that's, you know,
I like a tip that Sean gives for doing that in his training videos, that when you put the letter in the envelope, don't seal it.
Yeah,
Stick the flap in, and for some reason you get a higher open rate, so people don't just throw it in the garbage.
yeah,
Good tip.
that
yeah,
is a good
yeah.
tip.
Oh.
It is.
I think I have the self seals though. Crap.
No, you can still fold it in.
Yeah, you don't have to
Yeah.
seal
What do you
it.
think?
Yeah. It's,
Yeah, you don't have to seal it.
Hey, Betty, where are you getting your list from? Where you skip tracing a list from somewhere?
Our REI Automator is skip tracing
Okay.
through there.
Yeah. So
that where you're
you
doing
can
it?
tighten up. Yes, when I have done it, and I was getting a lot of old numbers or disconnected numbers, and you can tighten up the filters. So you tighten up the dates that you're looking, or if you're looking for foreclosures, you know, try and make sure that the dates you're looking for are something coming up in the future and not foreclosures that were already meant to have closed. I can't remember all of the filters in there, but if you go through them, you can look at stuff and see that it's targeting people that are going to foreclosure rather than people that are already been there. And that gets you some more quality numbers.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I did. I did foreclosures I hit the filter for pre-foreclosures and occupied and residential. And that's what
Okay.
I skip trace.
Okay.
okay.
I use
Within
batch.
that, when you're looking for the pre-foreclosures, I think it says it's got from which date until which date. If you go in there and you just make it so it's very, very modern, then obviously the pre-foreclosures are due to be heard sometime in the future, the near future. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's a
I
good-
use batch skip tracing, and they have pretty good returns back on phone numbers. I also have like 2 discount codes for batch that you could use to get it. I think one of them have it for like 14 cents a lead, and it's a holiday coupon right now. So
And who was that with?
I'm not sure. Batch skip tracing.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes, that's the company that Damia's side,
Yeah,
for me to do it through.
Got some-
they're pretty efficient. Like their numbers, the phone numbers come back pretty high.
Do
Yeah.
they? Yeah, see, that's good.
Mhm.
This
I
is-
get like a
Cedric, would you be able
98%
to-
rating.
Cedric, would you be able to share that the coupon code in the for me, please, or for us rather, please? Because I have to
Okay.
re-scrub my list.
Well, he can put it in there, right?
Yeah, if you want to put it in if you can put it in the chat, Cedric, that'd be great.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm typing it up right now.
Awesome. So, okay, well, that's, are you getting anything from the meeting, Betty? Are you?
Yeah, Damius is a wealth of knowledge,
Good,
you know, and then I try to listen to Sean Terry whenever I can.
yeah.
So, yeah, I have to redo my January letter. I had done it, but after I heard his goal setting, I was like, oh, I did not do that. I did not do that. I have to redo it.
Yeah, I have to do a January letter too, so I feel you there.
Yeah.
Okay, who else is on? Let's see. Robin, do you have anything you'd like to add? Thank you, Cedric, for putting that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, I don't have anything to add.
No, just hanging out, listening.
Yeah, but I made it.
You did make it, so good to see you. Let's see who else is on. Becky, do you have anything to add?
Becky downstairs.
I'm here.
Everybody's on holiday.
No, haven't really got back to the work yet. So I was wondering how you were doing with PPC. Actually, I asked Shane, but I think you said that was not really going. So
Yeah.
I keep wanting to start it, and I'm just then I hear that not such good news. So I'm going, maybe we should wait. Maybe we should wait. So we've been waiting, sitting on it.
Probably not a bad idea right now.
Mhm.
We can figure out what's going on with it anyway.
Right. I mean, some reason the website that I created on Freedom Logic, I got a couple of calls on that. I didn't even advertise. I don't know how people found me. So I got a couple of interesting leads from it. So that I'm trying to follow up. So I don't know how they found me, because like I said, I didn't do it. But you were asking before anybody uses Facebook. I use it. Go ahead.
You do, right?
Yeah, I use the Facebook Messenger a lot, and that's how I found a buyer. It was almost like a retail buyer who was buying for his mother.
Okay.
So basically, not Messenger. What is it called? Marketplace. I'm sorry, Marketplace. Yeah, and it's free. I get a ton of calls, so it's great. I think it's a great place for buyers,
Yeah.
especially if you want to get a sell at retail.
Good.
I get ton of.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Rick, I don't know if you said anything what you're doing marketing. Are you doing any marketing, Rick?
I haven't started yet. One of those more bigger picture people. I gotta have everything in place, and I gotta build a website, as you and I talked about. So that's my next step I'm working on, and
Yeah.
then get phone numbers, and then I think I'm ready. I finally worked through all the videos. Some of them I want to go back to again, but because God, there's so much there. By the time I get through it all, I've already forgotten the first half of stuff I've worked through. But at the same time, I need to do that because I don't want to just start making phone calls and then I get somebody and then I don't know what the heck to do.
Well, the truth of the matter is, you know what, Rick? You're not going to know until you start doing it. There's always going to be that stumble block. There's always going to be that roadblock. And I think you just need to jump in and just start, because unfortunately, I think that's the best way to learn. Not saying you shouldn't be prepared to understand and know it, but a lot of times, we let that fear sit in front of us without actually doing it because we're too afraid of, well, what if we don't have the answer for them?
And
You'll find it.
What works for me is taking notes, like to do, like when I'm actually doing like the REI list in REI Automator, and then I'll write down how I did it, and then how I transferred it over to Freedom Logic, and then I write that sequence down. This way, instead of having to go back and listen to the videos all over again or watch the videos, I can just refer to my notes and see real quick how I go from here to here to here. And it makes it a little bit faster and it sinks in a little bit more, I think, when you write it down. That's just my little stuff. But I'm like you though, I get caught up in the big picture sometimes, and you can't, I have to physically like draw myself away from it because I'll get too like, oh my gosh, what if they say this? Or how do I
Right.
answer that? And sometimes you just have to jump in, you know?
So I have a tip for somebody. I'd be interested. I just put it on Google Sheet whenever I make notes. And then you could do a find on that. You could search it.
Yeah.
So
that's
this way, if
good.
you have a lot of notes, you could just have it online and share it with somebody also.
That's a good idea, Becky. That's a real good idea. Yeah. That sounds good. So does anybody else have anything I know it's, getting a little bit late and I know it's the holiday. I don't want to keep everybody.
Yes, I do have a question. Do you all have websites, correct?
Yes.
Or whoever. Okay. Do you have logos on your website?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. There's,
And I was kind of I'm having a hard time finding a logo to put on our website. Did you guys create the logo, or did you buy one, or what?
You go to Fiverr, Fiverr, and then you just search
Right.
logo, and you get hundreds of people do the logo for you. That's how we got our logo for very cheap.
there's a
They do
couple,
everything for
Okay.
you.
there's a couple free places too. I saw somebody had put on Discord about that, that there's a couple, free logo creators. I can't remember what the names of the websites are, but look on Discord, like scroll back, because somebody did ask that question. I did ours because I used to do graphic design, so I just kind of threw something together pretty quick. Stefan, you have a really nice logo. How'd you
Yeah,
get-
I just put in the chat there what my website is, so you can go and have a look. But it was something I kind of had in my head, and then I went to one of those sites. I think I paid them $30, and they just changed the font a little bit. So it was half my idea and half their idea. But I was very happy with how it came out. I said I wanted something very simple, very clean. So if you go and look at uniquehousing.net, you'll see what I ended up with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good. I like your logo.
You see, yeah, because me personally, I can draw, but I don't know how to. I want to draw the logo, but I don't know where like to get it made at.
Again, you can go to Fiverr and you can kind of try to explain even some chicken scratchy kind of thing and just say, hey, look for
Yeah.
something like this. If you can make this look presentable, not spend a lot of time with it, but if they're artistic and they've done it in the past, they should be able to come up with something.
Okay.
But don't waste a lot of time with a
Yeah.
logo. That's not the bigger part. I want to
Well,
mention one
I
thing.
actually need it because of the website. We can't even. Our PPC was actually like we can't get into it indefinitely because of our website.
Oh,
So that's why I'm just trying to go ahead and get my website fixed.
Yeah,
chicken
We
and
can't
eggs, that
log
kind
in.
of thing.
Website's real important.
Mhm.
I was going to mention something that helps me because it seems like a lot of us are more green than than reds who just completely just go out of the gate. I know for myself, and I'm talking to Rick, but everybody as well. I know that I need to be able to have things in front of me to feel comfortable.
Mhm.
But whatever it is, if somebody calls, if I'm making cold calls, whatever it is. So I'm making a binder, and like for certain things, like I take notes, like Missy was saying, and so something I know I'm going to be repeating that, again, I have it, and I have a laminator, which is a good thing to have. So I have here, finding how to zip codes. Okay, here's how to do it so I don't forget. Oh, all right. So when I go to another zip code, I know, all right, that's for marketing. Then I do the same thing. I have the same thing on, let's say, making cold calls. You have a voicemail message script. So it's like right there. You don't have to even think about it. After you do it for a while, then I won't even need this. So you can just, exactly what to say. But if not,
Right.
I have my script. It's right there, right? I got my regular points where you have your seller, right? Like Missy and Chris were talking about. You have it with you, and keep this thing in a binder or in a 3-ring binder on your desk or whatever. And you have everything you need, and then you just need a notepad, or if you're good, you can put it right into or a automator. I'm not that fast with the typing. I always longhand it and then convert it over. But that way you don't have any excuses really not to go forward, and you're going to mess up. But
Yeah.
you can't steer a parked car, right? So once you go, then you can just refine as you do it, like anything.
No, don't get hung up on like websites and stuff too much. You need a
Right.
website, you need a phone number.
Right.
You just gotta jump in.
Right.
You know, sometimes I think we tend to overthink things too much and it prevents us from actually taking action. You know,
Inspired action.
that's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
Just gotta sit down and do it.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, I'm curious to see how you make out then next week, Cedric, with your logo.
Oh yeah.
That's your goal, your challenge for next week. Is just to get
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna go ahead and draw it out and then see what they say. It's not very complicated.
Cool.
Yeah. Shane mentioned he used Fiverr for that, and that's who I used as well. I put it in the chat box there at Fiverr.com, and they'll have an artist who might be in Taiwan or India or wherever, but you know, they get on there very quick. They're very good about replying, and you can change it as many times as you want. So you can submit something and they'll draw it up, and then they'll come back and you don't like the color or you want to change something. They're very easy to work with.
Look at this logo I think we got from Fiverr. Can you see that?
Oh, that's
wow,
nice.
Yeah, that's real
Cool.
nice.
Very
That's
cool.
very cool.
It
That
didn't
is.
cost very much money and you can get it from Fiverr.
Love it.
That is.
Yeah.
That's a good logo.
That's a really
Yeah.
good.
That's very nice.
Was that your idea or their idea?
Becky? Wasn't my idea.
Yeah.
I think Becky might have been part of that. But we had
Sorry,
another
I-
one also that we did
Sorry.
earlier.
It's
Yeah.
Basically their idea. I mean, I just told them what I'm looking for and they came up with. Really didn't give them much lead and they just came up with. They're very good, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, especially for
It's a good
30
logo.
bucks or whatever they charge. That's real good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's
Yeah.
good.
Because the site I went on, they charged me $265.
What?
I
Crazy.
Was it gold embossed?
don't.
Uh,
It was crazy.
Well, all
Yeah.
right. So anybody else have questions or anything to add? All right.
all right.
Good. Until next time.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
can put this one in the books and
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see you
So
guys.
can we try and initiate that, what Rick was talking about? So that we get Gia to send out some parameters and we start getting comps on it?
Already on it, Stefan. I sent Lisa an email.
I didn't doubt you for 1 minute.
Talk about inspired action.
So I
Yeah.
sent her an email and I asked her, I actually copied
done.
Rick's
You're
portion
saying
of the
goodbye.
email with his suggestion. And I sent it to her and I said, this is what, Rick suggested and I think it's a really good idea. And I would like to see if Gia could do that, give us the property the week before
Yeah.
the 13th so that we can kind of do our comps and then we can all discuss it on the 13th.
Like a case study. Everybody's on the same page. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, we might not be able to do it all, like everybody say their comps, but at least we can listen. Like if there's enough of it on there, it might get too long. if
And
we
it all makes sense to us because we all kind of like put our head in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I'm on it, Stefan. I got it.
Moment of action.
Yeah.
There we go. I didn't doubt you for 1 minute.
So, okay, guys, well, listen, if everybody's still cool with us meeting next Thursday, we'll set it up again
Yeah, absolutely.
and
Good.
see some progress. So cross my fingers. Everybody has a good week
Yeah.
and Merry Christmas.
Merry
And-
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you all. Happy holidays.
Happy holiday.
Bye.
Happy
Bye,
holidays.
guys.
See you guys next Thursday.
Okay, we'll
Good
see
luck
ya.
this week.
Good luck.
All
good
right.
luck.
You guys.
Productive.
All the
Good luck.
best.
Bye.
See you guys.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye.